to welcome everyone to this short session outlining the role of franchise kiosk models to deliver access to safe water at scale in pursuit of SDG 6. Before we start, a couple of technical points. Please do interact and ask questions through the session, but please use the Pathable platform rather than Zoom for that. And we will look to answer your questions at the end of the presentation. As way of introduction, my name is Tom Chaplin. I'm a senior portfolio manager at Stone Family Foundation. We're an organization that looks to find and scale sustainable market-based solutions to safe water and sanitation challenges through a mixture of equity, grant, and debt in Africa and Asia. As context for this session, when it comes to providing access to clean water, we believe that piped water to households is the best solution. But if we think of the 2.3 billion people that lacked access to safely managed drinking water last year, and as we heard yesterday, the rate of progress needs to quadruple to achieve SDG 6, other models are clearly needed. And to do so, we must overcome the quality and last mile delivery challenges, especially to reach these low-income, rural and informal populations that are particularly vulnerable in these developing countries. There will be insufficient investment to build the water supply infrastructure needed to achieve high coverage rates in many places using piped water, and water supply is often not safely managed, and the sustainability and quality of piped water and other water sources is an ongoing challenge. As a result, and in response, decentralized safe water enterprises have emerged to reach these unserved populations, and the franchise model, as demonstrated by two of the participants in the session today, can be a way for them to achieve sustainability and scale and deliver safe water access while creating jobs in the communities that they serve. So two organizations that we support are Ocean and 1001.10, and we're joined by Barbara and Julien, and they are going to tell us a bit more about how the model works in their respective markets. So as we move through the session fairly quickly, I'd like to introduce both Barbara first and then Julien. Take it away.
Thank you very much, Tom, for that introduction. And hello, everyone. Welcome to this session. My name is Barbara Tianedian. I am the project director at Ocean. Ocean is a social business company that has been operating since 2018 in West Africa. We are in two countries, Senegal and Burkina Faso. And today I'm going to be talking mostly about Ocean Senegal. In Senegal, we are in 4 of the 14 regions of the country. We have 60 water kiosks that are installed and 200,000 consumers. The context that we operate in Senegal is that we serve peri-urban communities that do have access to the water supply network, but they are affected by water quality issues. So for example, just to give you an idea about what a water kiosk profile looks like in our country, we serve about 200 liters per day of treated water. You have 750 beneficiaries who come and purchase that water, and they pick it up mainly on site, so at the water kiosk where we operate. We deliver them in bottles of 20 or 10 liters, and a small percentage also of our customers, we do deliver to them about 5% of our customers. So this was just a quick introduction to let you know about Ocean. I'm going to give the floor now to Julien, who's going to tell you about Mille Fontaine and what they do in Asia. So yeah, Julien, back to you.
Thank you very much, Barbara. Hi, everyone. I'm Julien Ancel. I am the CEO of 1001 Fontaine. We are a social business that was created in 2005 in Cambodia, and we are focusing our action on remote rural communities where people still rely today on surface water that they have to boil before drinking with many quality issues, or do not have access to quality pipe water. So we are present in most of the provinces of Cambodia with about 260 water stations and 800 100,000 consumers. So what we do is we empower local entrepreneurs to manage safe water stations that produce 20-liter jugs that they guarantee the quality at the point of use. And this water is delivered at home by our franchisee in a radius of about 8 kilometers for a price below 2 cents per liter, which remains affordable. So we manage our operations as a franchise. Just a few data points. So we deliver approximately 2,000 liters per day per entrepreneur. So it's about 2,000 beneficiaries per station, which is about 20% penetration. And today we are the largest water producer in rural Cambodia. We cover about 25% of the country. We have reached break-even point last year, and by 2025, our plan is to address all Cambodian communes with more than 10,000 inhabitants. So it's a national footprint. So we're now going to introduce how franchise model works in practice by presenting the 4 key services characteristic that we provide to our franchisee on the field. So I'll start with a very critical one, which is training and coaching. Obviously, and we will agree with Barbara that the most critical success factor of what we do is the quality of our franchisee. So in the context of Cambodia, most of them are farmers or shopkeeper that we recruit with somewhat low educational degree. So we recruit them based on their skills, their reputation, and the community, their potential, but they basically have to discover a whole new approach. So we developed the concept of the Social Entrepreneur Academy, which is a set of theoretical and practical training modules that they receive before they start their business and all along their activity. So we teach them how to treat water, how to manage production, how to sell, to manage customer complaints, how to manage a team, and how to manage a P&L. So many things to, I would say, to absorb and integrate. But through that approach, which is now standardized all along our portfolio, we ensure that they master the best practices of their kiosk and that we ensure that most of them become successful. So they have to know how the production should be organized. They have to know who has to do what in the team, etc., etc. So, and we also, the other thing we do more and more is we track on a regular basis the acquisition of their skills, so we can also adjust our training modules. And then I'll give the floor back to Barbara.
Thank you very much, Julien. So now I'm going to be talking about another important aspect of a franchise model, is quality monitoring and maintenance. It is very important to be able to monitor regularly the quality of the water that we are delivering to our customers. So for example, at Ocean, what we do, we have a connected device that help us manage remotely the quality of the water. So what you can see it here on the screen, the Ocean connected device, they have different sensors. Those sensors are connected to the water treatment apparatus itself. And our workers can monitor remotely, check for each water kiosk the status of the operation. So you can have different alarms that tells you if there is something defective, so that you can plan the maintenance and send a technician on site to be able to do the maintenance that is needed. That is very important in the operation, because the treated water that you give to your customers, you have to be able to know at each moment that the quality is still at its best. So doing monitoring and maintenance is very important. So that's how we do it at Ocean. We have this apparatus called the Ocean Connected Device that help us do this monitoring and maintenance remotely. Now I'm going to pass the floor back to Julien, who's going to talk to you a little bit more about marketing and awareness.
So yeah, so regarding marketing and awareness, it's obviously fundamental to, I would say, raise awareness among population who still are not used to the concept of buying water. They have been using the water that's available for centuries. So that's absolutely fundamental to build new habits for our population. So we've developed in Cambodia, and it's also the case in Senegal, we've developed a local brand that we tested with support of marketing experts, especially in Danone. We have a set of awareness sessions inside the communities, also within the school, where we provide safe water for free. We also try to target the prescriptors, which are in the health centers. So there are specific campaigns as well, which are being conducted. And yes, indeed, that's very important for us to build a brand and push the promotion of a product that's actually new. You might believe that water is easy to sell. It's somewhat a very easy product to sell, but in the context where we operate, it's not, and it's actually been the biggest challenge we face. So 25% penetration, we believe we can do more, and obviously branding and insisting on the marketing is going to be decisive. So there are many lessons that we've learned. Obviously, during COVID time, we had to shift the whole marketing approach, leveraging more digital, door-to-door, etc. So it's a very interesting journey, and we believe that it's one of the dimensions where we still have the franchisor have a lot to learn. And moving to the next slide on the logistic and supply chain is obviously also very critical. Imagine you are an entrepreneur living 100 miles from a big city in Cambodia. How are you going to supply your spare part or your new jugs, and how do you know which one to buy? So it's easily can become a mess. So the option we took is to internalize that within our franchising and make it a service, profitable service. So we have a digital app, and all our almost 300 entrepreneurs can place order, and we deliver them. So we can also proactively suggest them to reorder based on their sales level. So the value for them is that there is no shortage in production and sales. So we ensure business continuity, and they have a competitive price, and we guarantee the quality of the products. And the value for us is that it generates consistent revenues with an interesting margin. And we also ensure that we can enforce the use of our own bottles, which is a very big challenge, and that there is no deterioration of our brand. So we are exploring also other options, such as producing our own jug. That may be the route ahead in the years to come, but we are not there yet.
Thank you very much, Julien. So just moving from this to the human resources and the scalable part of the business, I'm going to be talking now about one important aspect, that is operational sustainability. As a franchisor, it's very important that you are able to anchor yourself in the locally in the communities that you serve. So what does that mean? It means that you have relays, that you have connections with the authorities, so that they can smooth things out for you during the installation and also during the operation of your water kiosk. For the franchisees, what is also important is that you provide them with long-term support. We already browsed on those supports as we outlined earlier, with training, marketing, all the things that a franchisee needs to be able to operate the water kiosk correctly. And also it's important to be quick in response to any unplanned events as well. As I said, for example, if there is a technical issue, the franchisee should be able to come back to us as the operator, and we should be able to deliver those things to them in a timely fashion. So it's important that you put all those things into an orderly process so that you achieve what we call operational sustainability. So I'm going to let Julien explain to you about the two other aspects that are important also to be able to guarantee your franchise model. Julien, over to you.
Thank you. Financial viability is also, I would say, a key component and a key success factor of the franchise approach. So as a franchisor, we have within our staff technicians, advisors, quality officers, etc. So we have to cover their costs and the operating costs. So to do that, we collect what we call service fee. So it's basically a percentage of entrepreneurs' sales. So 20% of the sales of water are coming back to us to cover our costs. And also we are making a margin on logistics services, like I've mentioned before. So those are our two revenue streams. And those revenue streams and basically enable us to build in 2020 a $1 million business, which is now profitable. So we are in a position where our capex historically has been covered by grants, and will continue to subsidize our deployment. But we're in a position where now, and we have a new business plan for that, we'll be able to self-finance part of our growth in the years to come. So that's a new step ahead for us to ensure that we have, I would say, a sustainable financial development. And obviously, from the perspective of the franchisee, it's a very viable business. So most of them actually reach break-even between 3 to 6 months in general. And if you look at all the stations we have launched since 2005, 82% of them are still in activity, which is a very, I would say, efficient survival ratio in the franchise industry. So that financial viability is key. And also the last component of the approach is the capacity to consolidate and scale. So being a franchisor, you always learn from the new site, you always learn from your portfolio. So we have in place, I would say, an operating model that's now stabilized, and it took us some time over the last years, and particularly with the support of the Stone Family Foundation, we've done a lot of action to stabilize the core business, our financial processes, operating methodologies, etc. And now we believe that it's consistent and it's working. So any new franchisee that joins the team, we know how it should work. So those processes, those methods are now very much industrialized, and we have a capacity to replicate that and scale. So basically the approach is to have what you call regional platforms. So we have 4 platforms in the country, in different areas of the country. So each platform is now, I would say, a separate and autonomous franchisor, and it works well. We can compare the result. There is also emulation, and so that's how progressively we are positioning ourselves to a national scale and coverage. Thank you very much, Tom.
Thanks, both. Remarkably efficient, given they were actually ahead of time, but that's great. Just to kind of summarize some of what we heard there, I think what we're basically saying is that there's a kind of a serious potential contribution to achieving the SDG target while delivering economic and health benefits through this franchise model approach. From our perspective as Stone Family Foundation, we still think there's more to learn about this approach and how to scale and replicate them in other markets. But we certainly think it's an important component that is worth supporting, as demonstrated by other investments that we've made, for example, Djibu in East Africa as well. And we think it's important to look at a range of models. We can't be too prescriptive, and we need to look to continue to kind of share learnings about how we replicate these models as demonstrated here. And also, of course, there's also a role for kind of policymakers as well to think about how these type of models can complement the piped water approaches rather than be in competition with them. And further to that, I'd like to draw your attention to a session on Friday where we look at the opportunity for complementarity between piped and kiosk models that we will also discuss then as well. So coming on to five minutes of Q&A, we got a good question through, which I think is certainly relevant when thinking about this, and I know there are challenges in other markets as well, is what's the role of how we engage, or how you engage with local and national government in order to get these franchise models up and running and make sure you can open franchises quickly and see them succeed. I think that should go to both of you. I'll start with you, Julien.
Yes, so our work is, I would say, fully integrated in the national policy. So we are working hand in hand, and we in a MOU with the Ministry of Rural Development. So we select basically the regions and the communes together with the government. So it's very important to be aligned, and they are facilitating our work basically. And we have been obviously working very much with the authorities last year, particularly in terms of COVID response. There's a lot we had to do. That being said, the next step for us is to be able to not only work together, but also integrate ourselves in the governmental budgets, because we believe that what we do is somewhat a public service, although it's privately managed. So if we really want to scale this approach, the next step is to be able to, indeed, be recognized in the development, formally recognized in the development plan and the long-term budgeting of the governments.
Okay, thank you very much for that question. So I'm just going to add maybe the differences that we may have here in West Africa. Here, we mainly work with the local and municipal authorities when we're putting together a water kiosk. Like we were saying during the presentation, it's very important to have that local anchoring in the communities. So what we usually do, we work with the municipal authorities to make sure that they are on board and they will allow and facilitate the installation of the water kiosk. The national water service provider as well is giving us discounts because we are mainly, as I said, most of the population that we serve are peri-urban communities. They have access to the water supplies, but it's the water quality that is an issue. So we have also partnership with the national water service provider that they allow us to be able to sell that water at a discounted price so that people can have access to a safe and affordable water. So basically in West Africa, that's the difference I could say that we have compared to Mille Fontaine.
Yeah, and I think just to underline that, close cooperation is clearly crucial engagement with local governments, so that you don't see each franchisee as needing a new license and delaying the opening of franchises by kind of increasing regulation or oversight. And that's something else that we see elsewhere as well. Something else I think you can probably both comment on, cost efficiency is absolutely crucial when providing really affordable, safe water to these types of the communities that you both serve. Why is the franchise model more cost efficient and a better way of doing that than any other approach? Start with you again, Julien. Sorry.
Yeah, so maybe I would point out first the economies of scales, obviously, because as an entrepreneur, buying your jugs, knowing how many people you have to recruit, etc. All this, it's an economy of, we like to say it's an economy of cents. Because when you sell the water 2 cents per liter, every cent counts. So by having a franchise and services and processes and the industrialized way to work, this is how you can, I would say incrementally reduce the cost. So for me, that's the main advantage. And the second one, which is going to have an impact on revenue, obviously, is business continuity. What happened is that if you want to manage your business as yourself, you can buy a water treatment station unit, you can do it. But what happens if it breaks? Then you have no other choice. It might take you weeks before you can, I would say, collect the money to buy it again. In our case, you just need to call us, and in 2 days you're back to business. So obviously, revenue-wise, that makes sense as well. So we understand the fact that it adds some cost to have a franchising team, obviously, because then you have salaries to pay. But if you reach a certain critical mass, obviously through the system of the franchise fee, you can recover the cost and then ensure that you can scale, basically.
Absolutely. We have exactly the same the same point of view there, and it works as well the same in Senegal. I'm just going to add maybe the fact that the franchisee model will also give support apart from that ability to scale and the long term, as Julien already pointed out. The long-term support that you have as a part of a franchise instead of being a sole entrepreneur on yourself. For example, when you have maintenance or something happened in your water kiosk that you did not foresee, if you are part of already a franchise and a partnership, it's taken care of much more quickly than when you were on your own. And also the network that you have, because the franchisees, they also talk to each other, they advise each other, and they give tips to each other. All that network also helps them to be able to make their business work better. So there are many other advantages to this model.
Great, 30 seconds left. Going to put you on the spot, one thing each. What is the most important thing to think about when you're looking to replicate this model elsewhere? What's the number one or two most important criteria?
I would say cultural difference.
So applying it to the local context?
Yes.
Barbara?
Yeah, it's important to take that into consideration, but local anchoring in communities also it's important for us here. When you have local anchoring and local facilitation, it really works well when the franchisee have that connection. Usually the water kiosk really prospers.
Great. Thank you both. The only thing I'd like to add to that is around operator selection. I know that's absolutely critical. Selecting your franchisees is absolutely crucial. Thank you both for that brief update. I know we've got another couple of sessions as well to talk about this model, and I look forward to hearing that. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Thanks, Julian. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.